let's get into it. Game number 1 of the
It's the best
Infinity
of.
Oh, no! Agent is at it again.
I did say 1 minute into the show that it would be a best encounter, and that is going to be the case.
Wow.
Oh boy.
A little Zeri game coming up?
Yep. Looks like it.
Okay, so you know what? We talked a little bit earlier about the value of having experience in underdeveloped line. I will say, when you're playing an Mbessa encounter, being willing to cook is sometimes the key to success.
I'm looking at these emblems right now, and I feel like I'm seeing some clear winners, and I'm seeing some clear losers.
I definitely think that Dish Soap has the highest cap of these Mbessa emblems. With only a +1, you can hit 10 Rebel on level 10. And also, even the Visionary side has a very high cap with the Malzahar.
Look at titles, though. Bruiser Experiment, I mean, that gives you a lot of direction. And the other thing I will say is actually having the Bruiser Spatula early is very good at getting you that 4 Bruiser on stage 2, which can be extremely powerful if you want to fight for a 5 streak.
Even looking at one of the strongest rerolls in the current meta, we see both Double and Kevin, 2 EMEA players, have a chance to play into that family reroll, which is just incredibly strong with a +1, especially with the chance to find another +1, have the 5 family online in stage 3.
How are you guys feeling about Firelights, though, right now?
Contested. That was the word I'm going to use. And on the bright side, we have lots of strong Mbessa, these triple emblems. There are some bad ones, though. I think for Coco and Kevin Parker, none of these traits have any interaction in terms of units.
Like I said, clear winners, clear losers.
Okay, we get the immediate no scout, no pivot taken from Double 61. Now we're going to have a chance to look at some at the other boards to see what everyone else is locking in. But Double saying right off the bat, do not contest me. This is my family emblem. No scout, no pivot.
And that was really important because he actually found the Vander on no scout, no pivot on 2-1. Usually if you play the Darius, it actually locks you out of family emblems, which means no 5 family. So that's really, really good start for him getting the Vander early.
See what else everyone else going to take.
Oh. We have to mention this. Across the board, this has been regarded as the strongest composition throughout the entire tournament, in scrims as well. It's the Ken Baron Visionary line. The main reason that this line has been doing so good is because the 300 cash out gives you 70% chance at a 2-star Rennie, which is the best tank in that stage 4.
Anyway, he was very ahead when it comes to stage 2 gold, so going down to 40 instead of 50 is not really a big deal.
Let's see what our augments have. It's going to be silver.
Oh, this is a bit of a letdown. I was really hoping for trade trackers or emblems to come out
Gold
here.
would have been great.
I am seeing Doubles presented with a couple different options, whether he wants to go into combat or if he wants to just go straight into econ, getting the rolling for days. Personally, I find rolling for days pretty valuable when you're playing no scout, no pivot, because you have that scaling, those scaling stats coming through, being able to guarantee that you hit your units. It does look like that's what he opted into as well.
Everything is going to be toned down just a little with the silver augments. Not enough power, but El Coco.
Wow. And I love, okay, so this is a really brave play coming in through Coco.
Coco. Yeah, absolutely. He's taking up the power up. So we know that the next augment is going to be gold for everyone else, 100% prismatic for Coco. So this is the highest value that you can get out of this augment.
Since you just outlined, David, it is a really strong fallback plan. This feels to me like textbook TFT. When Coco recognized he didn't have a way to play from ahead, he instead will very successfully play from behind, and now has the opportunity to slingshot himself forward. And remember, he had power up, and now is going to be able to hit his real spike.
This is the big question, because honestly, Scrap on this patch is not a win-out composition. It will not stabilize you against 7 Rebel or the composition where Title is already going on to Force Form Swapper. So it is pivotal that this Prismatic can actually save him.
He's got Lucky Gloves, Freaky Friday.
Radiant Refractor sounds pretty reasonable to me.
Pretty good.
He is going to go for extra item components in the Freaky Friday, so that's 4 components. I have to say I'm not sure this is actually enough. The spikes are coming in from Dish Soap. He is going to get 7 online already with the Zoe.
Well, I think the way you can think of it is that he's essentially getting a gold augment value right now. And if he feels he has enough board strength to contend with stage 4, the rest of the rest of the field, then in the back half of stage 4, he'll essentially get a second gold augment if you're thinking of portable forge, right? Getting one of the Triforces and the Infinity Force and getting a second one later on. He believes that it's going to be enough tempo with most of his board upgraded right now to carry him through. But
this is
we'll see.
pretty rough from Huohuo. Big roll down, 0 Silcos. So Dominator plan not online.
No.
5 Black Rose though, got some front line, and we are seeing the back line at least holding those items, and she can hold them quite well, but the 7 Rebel online on the other side with the Ezreal 2, 3 items, a very, very strong carry in this mid game, and the cloning facility allowing him to have additional DPS of his little backup buddy right behind him. There's a lot of power coming in through Dishov, who maintained his 100 win streak through 4-2.
Dishov starting off right where he left off in the Golden Spatula, dominating the lobby, almost guaranteed the top 4 at this point with just the HP lead he has over the rest of the players off of that win streak. And Rebels is a scary comp where you do have to high roll. There are games where you just completely whiff on the Jinx and you don't really have a win out potential without the +2 Rebels, for example. So just the HP lead is a big, I think, buffer for Dishov and a big source of tranquility.
This is a pain point for
1/8, it's not the end of the road.
Oh, Dishov actually just lost his first combat.
It's okay.
I thought he was a perfect player. What's going on?
I don't know.
How's he losing a combat? This point in the game?
worry.
What's wrong, Gately?
It's all right.
No, he's in a great position, but I was like, wow, we got to point out that it happened.
Right.
Hey, isn't it your favorite anomaly?
It is.
Gately?
It's
Dual
Gangly's favorite
wielding?
anomaly dual wielding.
It's a good consideration, though. You don't really have the Zoe items. This fixes Rebel's problem of needing a lot of items and a lot of gold. This is one way to get those items, to have both duo carries, the Jinx and the Zoe, once you split those items when you find the Jinx upgrade.
Double 61 online right now. Is able to 3-star most of the board. Still missing the Vander. I will say, when you're playing no scout, no pivot, it's all about turning the corner. You have to live long enough to get to a point where you are able to outcap the board, the lobby. Sitting at 29 HP though right now, I'm not entirely confident that double spot is going to allow him to turn the corner this game.
He really needs 6 Pit Fighter to stabilize by stage 5, and I think he's so far away from it. So it's looking like a placement game coming in from him. On the other hand, Kevin Parker with 19 HP left and not a great spot is going to find a potential life raft in that 6 cost.
For double, you could find a Family Emblem, stage 5 carousel. That's maybe one of the outs from this position. All in all, this looks like a pretty standard game of Family. And once again, when you think this is an best encounter, that means that you're in trouble.
Absolutely. Other players are going to have much higher caps at this point. Really interested to see dig into Kevin's board a little bit more and see what are the outs here.
I think you just need to find your upgrades.
That's a very good analysis. We're thinking Heimer one still
I
on the board.
think she's right. I don't think you need any more analysis than that. I think
think
Nectar's
that's
spot
it.
on.
It's a starting point at least. Maybe needs a little bit more
That's
than
it.
that.
Let's move on.
Coco. I mean, like we talked about this before. Like Coco believed that taking the Freaky Friday would allow him to spike hard enough to streak through stage 4. Has now been able to maintain that streak, 5 streak through the last stage, and can now has 3 full items on this Rumble, going into the next fight. I think Coco's in a position now where, like Clement said, this is not the traditional win-out comp that it was in previous patches, but if you're playing the board from a higher tempo, which though he's playing low tempo in the beginning, he's certainly playing a higher tempo now. If he can find a Corki 2 relatively soon as well, he might actually be in a position to find that top 2 placement.
Which is impressive because I think this might have been one of the weakest combinations of Embesta emblems we saw throughout the lobby.
Also, we'll see if he buys this Gangplank. Could he be going for a Gangplank 3 as a way to cap this board even higher? Maybe wants to preserve gold to try and go 9 instead.
Does have the comeback story on the Echo. The best kind of like board cap here would just be, finding that extra Jinx if he can reach that higher level. But I agree. I think Gangplank is the more reasonable out at this point, even though he can't use the Artillerist.
Well, especially because you're only sitting on Corki 1, right? So you're incentivized to continue rolling on 8 because you have multiple ways, not just the Gangplank 3, to spike your board.
And because of this Hope's pretty big roll down on 4-2, he's still only around 40 gold, so still pretty far from going 9 and having enough gold to find a Jinx 2.
Parker.
Warwick could be the saving grace here.
I think it
Kevin
was there
had this
before.
already.
It didn't seem to help.
Yeah, this has been on the board for a couple rounds now.
Let me believe.
Yeah, for just a moment.
Now
we can
that's
believe.
actually copium.
Jailed Warwick, though, that's a different story.
Yeah, that might help. Helps you get the Warwick online a little bit faster in those combats. So good
All
test
right.
of strength here versus Guan's board.
Don't be fooled. Yeah, this board that we have on the bottom here is not Kevin Parker. This is Guan. This is the two visionary players up against each other, and we can see. Let's see what the strength of Heimerdinger 1 versus Heimerdinger 2. The one side does have the Warwick. He's been unchained. He's making his way through, and you can see he's just kind of
The
slashing
silence
all
cosplay.
over.
And it didn't matter.
Close.
I was like, how was Kevin Parker going to sell his Warwick? That's like, seems like a pretty high play, but
That's
it was Guan.
Going to be it for Kevin. Double now also down to just 1 life, 2 HP. So not the greatest start for EMEA, but Lekoko is still, around the middle of the pack there. We'll see how this stage 5 looks compared to the stage 4 win streak.
Yeah, I think Lekoko does need to find a way to his next spike, reaching that next rung, which we outlined before. There are the 2 different outs. You have something like the Gangplank 3 or the Corki 2, both of which can make a pretty big difference in your board. I think Coco's running out of time to find that spike, so I imagine we might see a roll down coming if it has not already come in.
And double no Savika on 8, unfortunately still on 5 Pit Fighter.
Well, you need to level up as well because of the no scout, no pivot, just to be able to get the Savika into the board. And so your one saving grace would be maybe you actually get to this carousel, but it could still be tough going here as Guan with this visionary board. But
Violet
maybe the
Tiger with the back
Berserker
line, though.
Rage.
The right hook from the middle of the board actually touches the corner. Great target selection from Violet, proving again why she is one of the protagonists of Arcane.
True.
I mean, and all of a sudden, Double's in a position where
Family Emblem
if
on
Coco
the
takes a really
carousel.
bad hit, yeah, if Family Emblem comes in, we'll see.
Do we get it?
No, we do not.
You guys jinxed it.
One more fight win from Double 61, though, could swing 1, maybe even 2 placements.
TG could be big. Pick to the Jace here. No Jinx also for Dish Soap is pretty massive. There's the Alawi though, right? I assume Dish Soap already hit the Alawi too.
But I think just having an extra tank
That's big.
item is
Maybe-
not a
maybe
bad
even
idea.
The big upgrade then.
I love this chibi from Tidal. She's just swimming in a pool of free LP. This is too easy. Looking at her drift around.
Oh, Warwick coming through, but you can't play it. Our board's
tough.
locked.
The
Unfortunate.
one big downside. Corki 2 for Lekoko is really big for the stability here for the scrap player.
And we're seeing he opted to not play for the GP3.
Wanted to go 9 instead.
Yeah, instead going 9, playing for the Corki, is now able to get 3 full items and on Corki and GP. And GP2, quite frankly, does a decent amount of damage for being a secondary or tertiary carry. Actually, whatever the 4th version of that word would be in this board.
Quadra carry?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah,
Sounds
you're right.
menacing.
The rumble there with the double.
I would say the 2 placement players from EMEA have to play each other this time. There is a chance that Violet
Violet's
just walks
bursting
directly down.
She's taken off by the Corki. The Corki upgrade seems to be pretty impactful here. It's only the Draven
Draven's
and the Dummy
ramping.
left alive. I think it's not going to be quite enough. Maybe I'm wrong. It's a close fight, but Double unfortunately taken down in 6th place, and Guan now also down to 1 life.
This was a really good 6th place from Double 61. I feel like if you look at those Mbessas and the fact that you have to play a 1-cost reroll in this lobby, a 6th place is about what you can expect.
And really sad that it wasn't Gold Augment to 3-2. Gold Augment is generally very good for melee comps. There's so many greats, Omnivamp, item,
Plus
just
ones.
very strong, and the +1 especially from family. So the fact that it was silver, I think definitely threw a wrench in his plans.
But I like that he committed to try to get that cap anyway, because that's what you have to play for this weekend.
And Double in Golden Spatula in EMEA. He's a player who played 4 out of 6 games of reroll on day 1 and then completely went off of them for the next 2 days. So maybe already he's going to do a quick switch after this game 1.
Oh, Disup already with the Victor. It's going to be double Victor right here. There's actually small tech. If you let Victor get hit sometimes, you can actually stagger the casts. Let's see if that does happen.
Nope.
Doesn't look like it, but I mean, at this point, Dishop's got all the pieces on the board, right? He's got 3 items on his Jinx. He's got 3 items on the Zoe. You called out the Zoe, the Victor before, but on the other side, Juan was able to find the Malzahar that last round, get 3 items on him, and that actually was enough to find him another round win. And look at the HP totals here. 6 HP for Guan. Lekoko in 2nd place with just 15. 1 fight difference for 4 of these 5 players.
But isn't it crazy that Dish Soap's been kind of free-falling from this position? Because he was 100 streaking at the middle of stage 4 and has lost every combat since then.
I thought this was the safest guarantee of a top 4 of all time.
You heard
And
him.
somehow I'm always wrong. I'm not calling it anymore.
I do think he was missing some critical items. The best items for Zoe is actually going to be the Static Shiv and the Gwinsu, so you want to go into attack speed a lot more. No bows for this composition, slightly rough.
Bishop does hit a couple things, though, finds the Echo 2. We see the Malzahar 2, though, on the right-hand side coming in from Tidal. Tidal is having no problem hitting everything he needs.
We kind of expected that, to be honest, but yeah, it was...
And, whoa, I mean, this was the Dominator board that kind of forewent the Mbessa +1s from the very beginning, playing around the pumping up, and is now in a position where he's contesting for this top 2 finish alongside Tidal.
And look, Tidal actually did go down the direction of having the Twitch at the end of the day, but was looking for the items to actually be able to put it into the board, left himself open to that out, and now you've got this enormous Twitch 2 that's going to be firing so quickly as long as nothing stuns it in the back.
Yeah, he has perfect items for this setup. You want double Gwinsus when you're playing 6 Bruisers, and just to note, he does have that Experiment emblem, so he still has a lot of cap to go for. He still has 7 Experiment on the board as a possibility.
Really cool tech playing around, you know, the Elise from the very beginning, and then going into the Malzahar, though. We do see, though,
One dish soap.
That's going to be 2 eliminations, both Guan and Dish Soap going out. Dish Soap
Staying
by
in the top
1
4.
HP.
Thank you,
David
Guan. You
saved.
got me.
There's
So guaranteed top
himself.
4, like I predicted at the top tier analyst.
And this is so impressive from Coco. He was playing a full loss streak scrap and was able to get a top 3 from this spot. I didn't expect him to be able to stabilize.
And hit the Corki 2 very late. Now, maybe, slowly and quietly, everyone whisper on the way to a Corki 3. 2 itemized Corki 2s in the back lane now.
I'm just saying, Tidal has 2 eyes. I'm pretty sure he can keep track of 2 players.
He's too distracted by, you know, his beautiful Malzahar, his Twitch in the back line.
By his 2 championships, I think that would be it.
Super important fight right now. It's really just a question of how fast can you break through this incredibly beefy front line coming in from Tidal. Do you have enough damage threats to break through until you can actually reach the Malzahar and the Twitch before they infinitely ramp? It's looking a little scary, though, as the front line does fall for Lococo.
How big is the loss is the big question.
I mean, it looks like a huge loss to me.
That's
and just
a
like that,
knockout.
that's a double elimination as Quoho loses off screen and Tidal double eliminates them both and finds a win for the first game of the Set 13 Tacticians Crown.
Entitled the Anomaly will share your energy, but he's not sharing any of his energy with the rest of the competitors. Comes into game 1, continues to dominate. After not playing tournaments the entire set, one of my big mysteries coming to this day 1 is, does Tidal have a different meta read? Is he going to play, you know, completely out of his mind again for another, you know, another set championship in a row?
But how much was that meta read, or was it just, I
Protagonist
gotta play
energy.
the Mbessa and the protagonist energy that he had?
And that was definitely a high roll from Tidal. There's no way to sugarcoat that. He found the 1% Jace on level 7, got the Elise when it was 3-way contested as well, had a completely open Twitch that he could build into. So a very just straightforward game coming in from him. However, for me, the most impressive person in this lobby has to be Coco. Like, full loss streak into that. I think a big way that he was able to stabilize his board is he didn't have to spend much gold for that comeback story.